start sharing your screen. Yeah, I think you have prepared like a presentation for everyone.
Yeah, that's right. We've got a presentation on our fractional investing uh, safe investments. So what I'll do now is I'll share that screen. Just bear with me momentarily while I get all that sort of queued up.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi everyone. So I would just like to give a quick introduction to about our speakers, Joey. Hi everyone again. Good morning. I am Janelle here from I'm the acquisitions manager of Property in a Box. So, before we start, I actually would like to remind everyone that this info session will be is being recorded, and the recording will be sent to everyone right after the event. Okay. So for this month's info session, we're going to have two presenters and two very interesting topics will be discussed. So I'm sure everyone will learn a lot. And as mentioned, Tony will be starting the presentation to represent Property Investment Store. And just for the benefit of those our new joiners, those who hasn't joined us before, um, Property Investment Store is a company with over 25 years of experience, and they develop strategies for clients to help with their financial and lifestyle objectives. And then they source suitable properties to implement those strategies. So we have Tony Barbone, the market development manager to start. And I think he is ready. Tony, I'll leave it to you now.
Yeah, I'm good to go. Thanks, much appreciated. So,
Sure.
yeah, I wanted to spend some time today to talk to you all about our exciting new property solution, which is called Safe Property. So, as mentioned, Property Investment Store has its background in providing being a supplier. We've been working with Property in a Box for a little while now, and so my role as a market development manager is to get more runs on the board with Property in a Box and then its members. So in terms of my background, I actually have a private lending background. So I set up a private lending business back in 2014. I did that in about 2022 when I came off the board and I was looking for something to do. And honestly, I was actually very attracted to the NDIS space. I had my eye on it for some time, and I'd been in conversations with Anthony, my managing director, and the property investment store for a few years. And it just seems like the logical choice is to sort of to move forward with those guys. So now, yeah, as I mentioned, my role is to sort of work with Property in the Box, with third-party groups such as Property in the Box, and get as many runs on the board as we can. And I'm very, very proud of being part of the company. And yeah, we've just got such a wonderful suite of products and such a great track record, and it's just really good to be part of the team and doing what we're doing. So let's dive on into it. So yeah, how many times would you get a client that says to you that they want to buy a $1 million NDIS or SDA, $1 million SDA home in a high growth location like the top of the range type of property, but they just haven't got the capacity to do it? You guys ever come across that before? I've had that happen numerous times. They've got all the intent in the world, but they just haven't got enough capacity to do it. So what we've actually done is we've partnered with Safe Property, which stands for Secured Asset Fractional Equity, and we've worked out a way in order to eliminate those barriers to entry to allow those clients to participate in this sort of top of the rung type of property solutions that are available on the market today. So secured asset fractional equity, and that's what we're going to be talking about here. So how does it work? So what it is Safe, the company that we've partnered with, they will be the 65% owner of each property that gets put forward, and they have every intention to buy out each of those 5% fractional owners. It's not done via a unit trust. It's actually a direct investment. So each 5% fractional owner will be recorded on the title of the property. So when the rates notice goes out, it's going to list it's going to list the 7 different 5% owners' names and the main owner as well, which is Safe. So what we have seen some clients do is, instead of purchasing 5% in a particular property, we've seen some clients decide to purchase 10%, and that's perfectly okay too. We just have to limit the number of 5% owners on each property solution. Otherwise, it would get a little bit cumbersome. So that's the reason why we've set it up that way. Now, Safe, they have actually sourced, as far as I'm aware, it's about a $250 million line of credit from a lender in order to do, like a lending facility that is in place currently to facilitate this. So for each property that gets acquired, there is a mortgage that goes on there, but it only goes on SAFE 65% portion of the property, and SAFE are injecting their own money into each property as well. Their goal is to own as many NDIS properties as possible. So that's sort of the way that it works. In terms of the for Property in a Box members and the arrangements that we have in place is what we put in place with Chris, which is that for every 5% share that is sold to a client, there is a $10,000 plus GST fee payable, and then the $2,000 plus GST aggregation fee comes out of that for Property in a Box, facilitating the arrangement. And payment terms on that is usually, I would say, a couple of weeks. The way that it works is that once the client, if let's say we have a property, an NDIS property solution available with fractional equity, you can present some information to a client. If your client is so inclined to proceed, they just have to put a $2,500 initial deposit, and then they pay the balance of the deposit under the contract. And once that's released, that's when payments facilitated, which usually takes a couple of weeks. We've had some really, really good traction with it so far. We have completed a number of SAFE properties in full, each 5%. So yeah, these 5% shares are getting absolutely very popular. We've only been doing this for a short period of time, and they're going very quickly. So we're going to dive into a little bit more about what they're actually purchasing, but that's sort of the metrics and how it works for you guys and what's in it for you guys. So let's talk about who. Let's talk about who should actually consider investing in SAFE property. So, well, as I mentioned earlier, you know, there's plenty of people out there with the intent, but they haven't got the capacity. So what this does is it reduces barriers to entry, so more people can actually get in to the property market, which really suits young investors that might only have an initial, like a small deposit to get started. They might not have the servicing capacity to service, $800,000 of debt. So the idea of being able to get into something and capture capital growth, especially in a environment where we're experiencing capital growth, you want to get on the property ladder and not be left behind. So young investors, certainly suits young investors. There are those, which I just mentioned a moment ago, that you've got those types of investors that just, they might have some money, but they actually haven't got they just can't get the lending for whatever reason. We see that all the time. They just don't qualify. And another one that we've seen quite a lot of interest is from clients that are actually either in retirement or approaching retirement. They've got money in a self-managed super fund, but they just can't get the borrowing as well. Once they've actually reached that point in their life where they have to start drawing down on super, it's really difficult to get borrowing inside super because the numbers don't really quite stack up. They have to be drawing down at like 5% of their super balance every year. So this is a really great way for those types of investors to be able to get exposure to the asset class without having to buy an entire property. And that which sort of moves into the next type of investor, which is those that do want diversification. We have plenty of, instead of going out there and buying a $1.3 million NDIS property and having all of your eggs in one basket, we have some clients that they just want to diversify their risk. So what they decide to do is they decide to buy a portion of 3 different properties in 3 different locations. And if and this is in the world of NDIS, you have to sort of realize that the health of the participants aren't getting any better, and sadly, sometimes participants do pass away. If that does happen, it's not an overnight process of replacing a participant. So you might have a period of a few months where there might not be any rent coming in. So if you are going to look to purchase an NDIS property, you have to be prepared to weather that type of storm. And so doing it this way, if you own 5% in a number of different properties, if you have a bit of a vacancy on one of your properties for a little while, you're not going to make a major impact on your life. So these are the types of investors that we're seeing that are very interested in this space. So the good news is that we have been doing the SAFE property solutions now for a few months, and we've had really, really quick uptake from a lot of investors that are very keen on this. And the price point we started with was around sort of $60,000 per property per 5% share. We're about to bring on a couple more property solutions at a lower price point, and so we will actually be able to have some available around the $100,000 mark by 5% share, which is great news if you have some clients that have limited capacity and really want to get into the, they don't want to be left behind. So that's it's a really good thing that we're going to be rolling out. So stay tuned. We'll have some more information on that in very shortly. Now, the way that it works, as I mentioned, the investor actually goes on title. Their purchasing entity is recorded on title of the property. They capture all of the capital growth benefits. They can sell out down the road at any time should their circumstances change. And the type of yields that we're seeing, because it's NDIS, is up to around sort of 12% per annum. So what actually are our investor clients investing in? Well, it is an NDIS property or special disability accommodation property. I'm not sure if you've looked at the numbers, but from high level, it makes a lot of sense. The SDA, special disability accommodation, has been around now for about 6 years, and the asset class has certainly matured. It's a lot less risky investing in SDA today than it was 6 years ago when a lot of new builders in the marketplace didn't know what they were doing. So, and I just want to dial it back a little bit and just talk a little bit more about property investment store. So when property investment store first got into this market and into the SDA market, was one of the first. Property investment store really did it the right way. So property investment store set up SDA Management Australia, which is a registered SDA provider. So in the world of NDIS, an SDA provider is like the rental manager. And in order to receive the government funding, you have to be registered under the NDIS as an SDA provider. And so property investment store has an in-house dedicated SDA providing part of the business. And it's really the feedback that we've received from our in-house dedicated management business that has helped us to tweak our designs and improve upon our designs based on the feedback that we've got from the participants families, and the carers themselves. And so this has helped us come up with better quality design, and which results in a much higher occupancy rate. So if you just look again high level at the numbers, there's loads of people in Australia that require that are eligible for special disability accommodation, and there's a serious undersupply. I mean, I think the last time I had a look, and I think the numbers there's tens of thousands of people that require SDA, and I think there's not nearly enough accommodation. So there's definitely a huge gap in the market. The institutional investors are now starting to move into this space quite aggressively. And in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but I believe that in the next 10 years, most Australians will have exposure to SDA as an asset class via their retail and industry super funds. And that's because the big industry and retail super funds are starting to actually invest into smaller specialized fund managers. And yeah, everyone's going to have exposure to this asset class because the future of it's very bright. We had the recent pricing review in July of 2023, and all of they had massive price increases, which was really, really beneficial, and the numbers are working again. There was a period of time there where prices due to COVID went up, land prices went up, build prices went up, and we couldn't quite get the numbers to work. But once the pricing review came through, it was, we're back at it again. So really exciting time. We're expecting there's a price review expected every sort of 5 years. And so we're expecting more, increases in rents as they go by, as the years go by. So the way it works is that we actually have a dedicated projects team. And what our projects team do is we look for locations that are experiencing infrastructure, government spending, and population growth. So as long as we have this key criteria met, then what we do is we do an overlay from our SDA perspective. We put on our, okay, where's the growth going to be glasses first? And then once that's done, we look through the lens of our SDA, lens of our management business. And so we do the overlay and we say, okay, great. If we chose this particular growth location, are we also going to be, is there sufficient participant demand in this location to ensure that we're going to have, be able to ultimately source participants for our investor clients. Now, look, there's another thing I just want to mention as well that I haven't got into yet, but when SDA first came out, there was a lot of builders that were rushing into the space and providing high physical support homes. And ultimately what that resulted in was a glut of high physical support homes. And you had a lot of jaded investor clients that just couldn't get a tenant. Okay? And this is because those builders were outsourcing the SDA management to a third party, and ultimately just like washing their hands of any responsibility to deliver on a client. a participant for their investor clients. The difference really is that we have an in-house dedicated SDA management business, and we have a 95% occupancy rate. And you're going to see the quality of the designs, and you're going to see the reason why we're able to support that. But yeah, there's a big difference between a group that will just sell you a property and then wash their hands of any responsibility of providing a tenant versus dealing with a group that will sell you a property we know will actually be able to get a tenant because we actually run the management business internally ourselves. Huge difference, huge difference. Now, I want to keep moving along to cash flow is king. Look, we're in a part of the market cycle now where values are gonna keep going up. But if we were unfortunate enough to have a situation where values started to peel off a bit, what kind of properties do you think are going to go the distance over the long term? And in my opinion, that's good, strong cash flow producing properties. You know, if the value comes off a little bit because the market's down, that's fine. If you're still getting paid a lot of money to hold onto that asset, you can hold it all day long until the market turns around. So that's why we believe cash flow is king. And what I want to show you is what it looks like inside our NDIS SDA home. But before I show you guys what our ones look like, I want to show you what some of the other ones on the marketplace look like as well. And Anthony, my managing director, he says, like, if you're dealing with a group that is just telling you all of the wonderful things that are associated with SDA as a type of investment class, something's wrong. It's a very challenging space, and you really need to discuss the good, the bad, the ugly, and all of the challenges that are associated with it. It's really important to understand that not every investor client is going to want NDIS. Really simple. It just doesn't suit everyone. Some people just don't have the risk appetite for it. If anything, though, it's more of a perceived risk. It looks risky from the outset, and that's probably because of some of the horror stories that they've heard from their friends that have invested early in the space and they've invested in their done property. So let me show you what some of the horror stories. Here's an example of a horror story of one that is most likely we couldn't get a tenant for several months, if not years. Now there's another interesting point I want to mention as well is SDA Management Australia. We've received calls from investors that purchased through someone else. This is over the years. They call us in tears. They said, "Please help me. I have a vacant property that I've had for the last 2 years. I can't get a tenant. It's destroying me. Can you help me?" And sadly, our policy decision on that is no. If we didn't sell the property to you, we probably think it's probably defective. Therefore, we're not going to be able to help you with that. So it's exclusive. So the dedicated management that we do is purely for the properties that we have designed and built. Our investor clients have designed. We've designed and our investor clients have built. And what that means is that we're maximizing the best possible outcome for those clients. We're not a gun for hire for other groups. We just don't do it that way. So here is an SDA. I don't even know how this one got past the SDA assessor, but anyway, here it is. As you can see here, it's certainly going to be one of those properties that don't retain their resale value. Look at the ramp here. This should just never have been built. The block it's on too much of a slope. That driveway is ridiculous. They've got handrails here, but a person in a wheelchair could slide backwards here. I don't know how this thing got past the SDA assessor. And have a look on the inside. So does this scream public urinal or what? I mean, it's not. It certainly doesn't feel like a home. And there's a lot of. This is the thing, right? The participants that we work with, some of them have been institutionalized their entire life. So the last thing they want is something that's going to make them trigger and feel as if they're in a hospital again. So it's really important that if you are selling NDIS, you've really got to know what the finished product looks like. This is probably most likely would have been vacant for a very long time, and I wouldn't be surprised if they had to do a bit of a rebuild just to attract the tenants to come in within this property. So as you can see, nothing very flash, pretty ugly. It's a disability home, okay? And I wouldn't be surprised as well if the valuer that went out there to assess this kicked this value in the guts and just said, "Yeah, this is horrible." So good luck getting bank finance on something like that. Now, this is our these are the properties that we have completed for our clients and delivered participants for, okay? Looks like a normal home from the outside. And do you think that this has much better street appeal? I would say so. I think this is definitely going to preserve its resale value. But just as an aside, our investors don't sell. Why would they? They're getting such good income. They usually buy and hold for the long term. So this is just what this is what the finished product looks like. That's the dual key. That's the 2 driveways at the front. And this is what it looks like from the inside. Lots of circulating space because we want to make sure that this property will be viable for all different types of participants with many different types of needs. The only thing that you would probably see that looks a little bit like that it looks a little bit out of place is this cabinet here with the special cover. That's for the TV unit to go into. You're dealing with robust participants. These are people that have complex behavioral disorders, so you just want to make sure that the TV is covered appropriately. Now, if you ever did have to sell, the only thing you would have to change is just to pull that protective cover off, and that could just be like a TV cabinet. But apart from that, everything looks pretty standard. It's a beautiful home. It just happens to be SDA compliant. Okay, big difference between building a disability house, which we saw in the previous slide, versus building a beautiful home that is also SDA compliant. Where do you think the participant's going to want to live? It looks like a normal house. There's another one of these TV cabinets, easily changed by a tradesman if you ever did want to sell. But like I said, our clients usually don't sell. They they just want to they just hold on to it and receive the cash flow from the long term. Now, this is the other thing. This is what our bathrooms, how they've been designed. So we actually go in there and we bat for our clients to get this outcome over the line with the SDA assessors. It's not an easy job. There's so much back and forth that happens with the SDA assessors. Not all SDA assessors are created equally. Some of them are really, they think that all participants should have a, the public urinal experience, whereas we say, no, this is our interpretation of the legislation. We're still compliant. It just happens to be done with materials that look nice. Big difference for resale value at the end, should it ever come, but usually it doesn't. Most people sit on these properties for the long term and get the cash flow. As you can see, beautiful bathroom, and there's a lot of thought that has to go into this. This isn't glass. This is polished. This is polished metal to make sure that it meets the requirements. It's all curved edges everywhere. These are the little things that go in behind the scenes to deliver a quality product. So that's really it. Now, yeah, this is the really important bit here. I want to sort of emphasize. Okay, let's say hypothetical. Let's say same street, 2 different SDA homes. The first one was the ugly one, was the public urinal experience, and the other one's a beautiful home. Where do you think that the carer, the participant's family, and the participant themselves, where do you think they're going to choose to live? The funding is exactly the same. Doesn't matter if they're in the inferior quality home or a better quality home. Where would you choose to live if you were the participant? Very simple decision to make. Myself, I'd want to live in the nicer home. If the same amount, if the same amount of funding from the government, I know where I'd want to live. So let's talk a little bit more about our safe property solution. So what we're doing is we're delivering, it's the same product that the same NDIS SDA property solutions that we've done for the last 6 years. We currently have about 100 NDIS tenancies and about a 95% occupancy rate. The only difference is now that we've just started rolling this out in the last few months is now individual investors that wouldn't have capacity to purchase an entire NDIS property can now buy a portion of an NDIS property using SAFE. And this is what it looks like. So for each 5% share, it's going to cost the investor client about $60,000, which is proportional to the entire package price. Okay, that's the difference. You know, this is the income that we're expected here, about $154,000 on this property. So it's about a 12.78% gross yield. This one actually did sell out pretty quickly. Just that, yeah, it is an example to show you guys what one of the ones that we've done just very recently. Here's another one. This one's a little bit more expensive, different package price. The yield obviously comes down accordingly, but still, you know, investors can get access to southeastern Queensland for, you know, in a high yielding property for around $70,000, which is fantastic. If they do decide to sell down the road, we will facilitate that one. If they decide that they have SAFE has the first right of refusal when someone wants to exit down the road. The way that it works in terms of the policy around that is that you just whichever 5% shareholder fractional owner, whichever 5% fractional owner wants to exit from the property, they just arrange 2 valuations. And then we take the middle point of those two valuations. That sets the price, and then everything's just transacted accordingly. This is another example for you, just in relation to what we currently have available on the market. And these 5% fractional shares are selling very quickly. Here's another one, a little bit of a higher price point. This is in Tarmore. They're experiencing significant capital growth in that location. And we have some investors that are thinking, okay, I'm happy with the lower yield because I know the growth is going to be fantastic over the next few years. So let's have a look here now, just on one of those examples. I think that was the first one. We'll show you what these numbers look like. So I'm sure you're all familiar with the property investment analysis. I'm a self-confessed finance nerd, so I find this stuff very, very interesting. And basically, that first safe property that we've run the numbers on here, we're expecting, once it's fully constructed and tenanted, we're looking at about an $1,800 a week, $1,800 positive cash flow per week, and the result on that, in terms of if you were a 5% shareholder of that, it's about $90 a week. Okay, so that's the kind of income that you'd be getting after all borrowing expenditure, all outgoings, all management fees, everything. You're getting about $90 a week. Okay, so not bad, and you can sit on that. If you're holding that, you can sit on that for a long time, and when you did decide to sell, easy enough to facilitate the sale down the road. So let's just fast forward with some projections based on the assumptions that are here in the PIA. Okay, so we've got a growth rate here, 7% growth rate. And so let's fast forward and show you guys what this looks like. Okay, so purchase price of 1.2, 5% initial investment, so $60,000 outlay. If we fast forward 5 years, that capital value should be probably around about that 84,000. 10 years, it goes up. 20 years, it goes up from there. Okay. Now, in terms of on the income side, we can see here that that's going to be around 7,500 gross income per annum. And if you just keep it on the same level, if you fast forward 5 years, that's what that looks like, 10 years and 20 years. So look, the numbers just speak for themselves. I don't think we need to really sort of drill down too long, spend too much time on the numbers. I'm also mindful of the time. I want to try to keep this at 30 minutes if we can, because I'm aware that we've got another presenter coming on after us as well. So they're the numbers there. So let's combine the capital growth and the income over a 5-year period. For a $60,000 investment over 5 years, you've got all your money back. Okay. Now, all of the numbers that I've expressed here, it's all gross yield. Every investor has their own tax rate. Some people are investing through a super fund. Some people are investing in their individual names. Some in a trust. Some in a company. So we always express everything in gross yield terms because it's too complicated to be able to provide what the net yield is based on that situation, based because of their tax situation. So these are all in sort of gross figures, okay? But even on a gross basis, it does make sense, especially when you compare it to if the client was going to leave their money in a high yielding term deposit for a 5-year period, they'd only be making a meager sort of $24,000 a year versus $122,000 over a 5-year period as well by investing in safe fractional share. Look. That's it, guys. What I might do is I might actually open the floor up to some questions. I'm happy to field them. There's my contact details there as well, guys. So you're more than welcome. If you do have any clients that are interested in safe, by all means, I'm more than happy to make myself available to jump on a video call to answer any questions that your clients may have. So please feel free to reach out to me on my contact details that are there, and I'm happy to help facilitate any transactions. As I mentioned before, the payment terms and payments is really great. For the safe fractional shares, it's a $10,000 fee, of which $2,000 goes to Property in a Box, their aggregation arrangement that we have in place, and payment usually once the client actually paid the balance of their deposit, it sort of happens at that time. So usually we're looking at around sort of 1 to 2 weeks once sort of docs are all, the contracts are all signed off. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, please, by all means, I'd love to hear from you and answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I had a quick question, if that's all right.
Peter, go for it.
how do we close the sales if we don't have specific properties that we're reserving these shares for?
Well, we do have, so great question. We do. So there is a brochure for each property solution that we acquire. So what Safe do is they acquire the land. What we do is we our back office, our projects team pull together the package, and then what we do is we get Safe to sort of acquire the land, and then what we do is then we market the 5% shares. So we actually do secure the land in the location, and we then create a brochure. The brochure is for each 5% share, and so your clients will be able to choose from. We've got a number of opportunities available at present, so your client can just choose from the ones that we have available.
Okay. Where do we see those properties? I was trying to find some on the Safe side the other day, and I couldn't really. Sorry, on property in a box, and I couldn't really see them.
You got my contact details there. You give me a call after this, and we'll jump on a call. I'll send you through some options, and I'll have a look at see what spots we have available, because we've got about 5 of them at present. A few of them we have closed out. They're some have been. Yeah, it's very popular. Like, we're seeing these 5% shares move very fast, and so give me a call. We'll work through it. I'll tell you what we have available. I'll send you some brochures. You're welcome to send them to your clients, and then if they're interested, I'm happy to jump on a call and help close some of these out with you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Just to add to that, Peter, we actually have some of these properties in Fusion CRM. We named them Safe property, so you can type in the word Safe when you search on the portal.
Okay.
So they only have a very few.
Yep. Okay.
Just got a question on finance, if that's okay. Just in your financials, you don't have any interest charges within your PIA software printout. So with Safe taking 65%, that you're not including the interest rate against them financing their portion, correct?
Yeah. So that's there is the mortgage in place. So I'll have to I'll double check that with you as well. If you wanted to give me, I'm just mindful of time as well. But if you want to give me a call offline, I'm happy to run through all of that. We'll just press the time. But yeah, I'm happy to look into that. And once I've actually had a chance to sit down and go through all of that. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, the income will be net of the interest, if any, payable to a mortgagee. So I'd need to double check that for you and come back to you.
I'll give you a call. Thank you.
Yeah, let's do that. Great.
Tony, I have one quick question, if that's okay.
Sure.
Are any of these properties close to being built, or they're not? The build's not started until all the shares are sold.
Yeah, that's the way that it works. Is that the build won't commence until all the shares are sold. The land has been acquired by Safe, so for each one of these packages that we pull together, so the land is there. What we are waiting for is each 5% share to be sold and fulfilled before we can really commence. What we are noticing, though, however, is that they are very popular, and that we do have quite a number of they go quickly. Like we've been working with one third-party group who sold all 7 in 1 week. So yeah, it just goes that was on one property. So it just goes to show that there's definitely clients out there, and it's good to speak with me in relation to it, because like I can say, look, if you've got a client who's interested, I can let you know which ones we have available. We might only have like one slot left on one property, or we might have a new property that comes online. We do have one at a lower price point that'll be coming online. You would have seen the $45,000 one that I mentioned. So we specialize in 2 designs. So we have the SDA dual key, which is the SDA dual key is 1 robust participant either side, and then we have what we call the single. So that's just the numbers are based on 1 robust participant. So the yield's a little bit lower in comparison to the dual key, but the price point is overall lower as well. So that's how we're able to come up with a lower price point of $45,000. So if you do have a client that's interested, I suggest just give me a call. I can see what's available, and yeah, we can sort of work through that. But yeah, and we don't have anything that's sort of near completion at this point in time. That said, though, we anticipate that we will have clients as we keep rolling more and more of these out. We do anticipate that we will have clients that may want to exit in sort of like a 1, 2, 3 year period. I don't know, circumstances change. We have plenty of self-funded retirees that might want to sell a portion at 5% share so they can buy a camper van and cruise around Australia. I don't know. Circumstances are different. So if that is the case, we will be facilitating the sale on that basis. So we will have some going concern properties that will be available down the road. We just haven't got any there yet because we're still going through they're all going through various stages of construction.
Thanks, Tony. I've got some more questions, but I'll give you a call offline. As you mentioned, there's some other speakers coming on. So thanks for that.
Yeah, no worries. Anyone else before we wrap up?
Yeah, Tony, there's one question here from Vicus. If the land is acquired already, it will be safe name. Will it be safe name on the title? And do you do name transfer later?
Yeah, so really good question, critical point. So yes, it will be in Safe's name. The land will be purchased in Safe's name, and what happens is there's a contract of sale that is entered into for each individual 5% shareholder, where they're buying from Safe their 5% share. Now, what happens is that then they release their deposit under that purchase contract. And what that helps is it helps fund the arrangement to get the property to completion. Once the property gets to completion, that which might be sort of 9 to 12 months later, once the property has got to completion, that's when the actual transfer goes through, that the individual 5% shareholders go on title at that point. Once all of the construction is completed, the construction risk is gone, it's been de-risked, it's a completed property, that's when the title transfers through. During that period of time, under the contract of sale, there is to provide each individual purchaser with security, there is an ability to have a caveatable interest, that they could put a caveat on the property. We would just suggest don't do that because it will upset any funding arrangements that are in place with the wholesale lender. So yeah, that's sort of the way that it works, so that the title does transfer, it just transfers at the back end once that the property is completed. And each individual 5% shareholder doesn't pledge they haven't pledged any security to a lender. They're not entering into a loan agreement. There's no personal guarantee. There's no lending risk on them because the project has been de-risked, the construction has been completed, and they're only purchasing the completed property at the end. Their portion of the completed property at the end.
And this will be like single contracts, Tony, that will be issued to all the shareholders, right?
Each 5% fractional owner will be issued their own individual contract. That's right, from Safe to them. And then once that's finalized, then that's done. Then they release their deposit, and then that goes through to help move the construction phase forward as quick as possible.
Okay, thank you, Tony. What about the management fee? Is it? I think it's like 10 to 15%, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, good question. So nothing has changed on that front. So the management, so SDA Management Australia, as you can see there on the slide, so SDA Management Australia has 3 performance fees that it charges to its clients. The first one is the property enrolment fee. So once the property has actually been enrolled under the NDIA, the governing body, once the property is given that rubber stamp of approval, SDA Management Australia charges a $3,000 plus GST enrolment fee. And then we charge a $5,000 plus GST per participant sourcing fee. If you have a dual key home, that's one participant either side, that's $10,000, $5,000 per participant plus GST, only when the participants move in. Okay, we have to actually perform and actually get the participant in order to receive that fee. And then finally, it's the ongoing management fee, which is 12.5% plus GST, and that comes out of the cash flow. So when the government funding kicks in monthly in arrears, money goes into the audit to trust account, SDA Management Australia pulls out the management fee, and then the balance gets paid to the investors. That's how it works. So if you do have a client that is interested, we've got a fee document that outlines all of that as well, and that's how we operate it.
Thank you, Tony. I would appreciate if you could send that fee outline to Janelle or to Property in the Box as well.
Yeah, just shoot me a note
Okay,
after if you've got.
sure.
Just shoot me an email, and yeah, I'll arrange for that to send that all that info. And I've got a frequently asked questions. I've got a whole bunch of material, so I'm gonna make sure that we send that out to you as well.
All right, thanks, Sonny. We have another question from Lorraine. Are any properties for HPS, FA, or IL categories robust properties can only take one client? They do not share with others.
Great question. Great question. So you're absolutely right. In our experience, and there are exceptions to the rule, in our experience, robust participants typically cannot co-tenant because they have more complex behavioral disorders. So that we actually do have some robust participants on our books that are co-tenanting, but it's a rarity. It's certainly not a common practice. We don't base our numbers on pie in the sky stuff. We base our numbers on what's realistically achievable, which is on a dual key, one robust participant either side. And that gives us about that sort of 15% yield, well, 12, anywhere from 12 to 17% yield is what I've seen on the dual keys, gross yield. And then we also have the singles as well, which is based on one robust participant in a 3-bedroom home. And so there are 2 designs that we do, and they're the sort of rough yields that we get. That being said, is that our homes are also built to an improved livability standard, meaning that you may be able to get 2 improved livability participants co-tenant on 3-bedroom side A in the dual key, or perhaps you could get 2 improved livability participants co-tenant in if it was a single, if it was like a 3-bedroom home, standalone 3-bedroom home, you may be able to get 2 improved livability participants to co-tenant in that arrangement. But we don't base the numbers on that. We base the numbers on what we can realistically achieve, sort of on a minimum, and there may be some upside involved as well. But what we don't want to do is be like the other groups out there saying, yeah, no worries, we'll just build you a high physical support home. You put 3 high physical support participants in there to co-tenant. You make 190 grand a year. You sail off into the sunset, happy days. That doesn't happen. You put 1 participant in there, maybe 2, and very rarely 3. In terms of what we've seen in the marketplace. So just be careful with who's quoting you numbers and on what basis, because some of it's just pie in the sky. I would suggest work with a group that has a really good proven track record of delivering participants, and we have a 95% occupancy rate. So I would say just be careful when you're out there dealing with groups or manage groups that are really touting what they think can easily be done, and in reality it can't be done. So we're always putting forward conservative numbers in our brochures, what we know we can realistically achieve, but there may be some upside involved. One final piece on that question is that the way that we designed our homes with the circulation space, we may be able to put a high physical support participant to live in one of our robust homes if the occupational therapist, their OT, signs off saying that it's appropriate, that instead of putting in like, we might be able to put like a temporary, like a crane on wheels that could help someone get out of the bed if so required. But we don't build to a high physical support standard. We believe that that's actually, it's too difficult to, you have to really do a big conversion on the property to bring it back to resell it if you ever had to sell if your circumstances change. Whereas with the robust home, it looks like a normal home practically with no real changes necessary if a client's circumstances change and they needed to sell. Guys, I'm really mindful of time. I've gone a little bit over, and there is another group that needs to present. So
Thank you.
if there's any other questions, maybe you guys just contact me directly. Happy to help. We want to really push. We're very excited about fractional investing, and we're seeing some great traction, and we'd love to help you guys get some runs on the board with your clients. Maybe we'll leave it there.
Thank you, Tony. Great product, to be honest. And from our point, we've sold a few in the past few weeks. So yeah, really good. We will just talk about like when you have a client interested in purchasing, like send us an EOI directly, plus the holding fee. Again, it's 2,500 for 5% share. So if your clients are purchasing, let's say 3 shares, so that's a total of 7,500 initial deposit. We process the EOI, we send to Tony and Anthony, and the contract will be issued via DocuSign, if not mistaken, right?
Yep,
All
you
right.
got it. That's great.
Thank you, Tony, so much for your time. Really appreciate this. Great session.
No worries. I just click the stop share button. Is that what I do?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. I'll hand over the torch now. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Cheers.
See ya.
Thanks, Tony. All right, so I think it's time for our second speaker. I think he's here, Peter Sutter Robertson. He is from Altitude Homes. He is the general manager, and Altitude Homes is the leading builder of rooming houses in Brisbane City Council. Good morning, Peter. Sorry for the delay, but
Yeah, no
if you're
problems.
ready, yeah, how are you?
Thanks for inviting me. I'll share my screen.
Yes, please.
Can you see that there?
Yes, I can see it now.
Yeah, terrific. I'm Peter Sutter Robertson from Altitude Homes, and as I just was introduced, we're a high yield investment builder, and we focus on rooming homes exclusively within Brisbane City Council or within the Southeast Queensland area. A little bit about us. So as I said, we're a leading construction company dedicated to investment properties for the discerning investors. So our focus is purely on the investor market. We don't try to simply deal with the investor product, and we don't get involved in that home occupier space. And that allows us to be committed to excellence and maximise returns for our investors. And that's how we get, obviously, trusted partners to come back for their first or second or third home with us. There's a couple of pictures, obviously, up here that show that even, I think, with new facades that we're developing, you can't really tell that they're a rooming home until you get inside, and we'll go through that in a little bit through the presentation. All capabilities. So really important, obviously. So we're obviously leaders in this investment market space, and we specialise in the 1B construction. Our team and obviously our suppliers and our contractors have all come with us through this journey, and it allows us to obviously have buying power and achieve exceptional results while building and taking that project from the initial out of the ground right through to completion. QBCC, that's obviously to do with our warranty and licensing capabilities. And obviously we're a category 3 builder. Due to our financial capabilities, it allows us to increase our capacity as needed and when needed, based on the demand of our builds. Like I talked about just earlier, loyal contractors. So we've grown our business from a smaller business 5 years ago to where we are now. And it's such an exciting space. And we've now really got this long-standing relationships with high-quality contractors who have come with us through the journey. To really, they're really excited as well, deliver superior results, which again, that's why we get a lot of referrals back to us, because we do look after our investor. We've got long standing relationships with industry professionals, consultants, agents, property managers, suppliers. So those collaborations really enhance our performances, and obviously that results in efficiencies for project delivery. So we're really cautious to make sure we build the homes as quick as we can, so that the investor can start getting that rental return that we'll go through. Well, Like myself, I've done this myself. So we're a highly experienced internal management system team here that we're experienced in producing high yield investment properties. So we can provide advice because we've done it ourselves. We've done land subdivisions ourselves, so we can really help that investor or whoever comes through that's needing some advice. We can provide that to them. And like I talked about, we're a specialised niche market, and so we're committed to this specific niche of investing. And by solely focusing on this type of construction, we've become and obviously supply issues. Why would you choose Altitude Homes? Well, for an investor, it obviously the focus lies way beyond just completing the home. We cater to complete a turnkey product. So we take care of everything: landscaping, driveway, fencing, and as I put there, even a 13 kilowatt solar system. And I'll explain why in a second. What are rooming homes? Well, rooming houses might be called to some micro apartments, co-living, shared homes, and HMOs. We're in a space that we're technology that we have to use is rooming accommodation. So as Brisbane's leading rooming accommodation builder, we take pride in our reputation of building rooming homes that have investors returning, obviously, all the time, because we deliver a quality product at a good price. So now we're going to get into what are rooming houses. Well, a rooming home has multiple occupants. So they have 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and provide accommodation for 5 occupants under one roof. Weekly income. So each tenant has a separate lease agreement where they pay between $340 to $350 per room. This provides the investor a weekly income of between $1,700 to $2,250 per week, depending on the location and the design that they build. And then rental affordability. So rooming homes provide that affordability to help solve the massive rental affordability crisis that we've got in Brisbane and in Southeast Queensland in general that we're all experiencing. So who are building, who are these people that are going to be residents in these rooming homes? Essential workers are one of the highest, followed by healthcare and emergency services personnel. And another large demographic is single women over the age of 50 coming to these homes. The benefits to the owner and investor. So it's a complete full turnkey product. So from furniture packages, so the TV, appliances, everything, like they said, down to the knives and forks is included or can be included as a complete turnkey solution. That's superior rental yields. So structuring a rooming home often results in significantly higher rental income compared to the traditional 4-2-2s that I used to be involved in for many years, but massive opportunity. Obviously, enhancing income stability and mitigating risk. So if one tenant was to leave, then that's okay. We've got 4 others paying their lease and their weekly rental. They do sign, each lease is signed individually. So it assures them that minimises the financial impact if someone was to leave. Attractiveness, and we'll show some pictures of these homes are modern homes with all of the amenities that they would need. And it's such a great convenience, where obviously I'll go into a little bit further, but when they move into that home and they pay their $400 a week rent, it includes their power provisions there, are all part of that rental price that they pay per week. So for them, there'd be additional costs if they were to go to the traditional renting options, where they would have to set up those individual accounts and obviously incur additional costs. Market resilience and high resale value. Yeah, so obviously with these types of products, it's lucrative cash flow, often outperforming other real estate assets in terms of investment returns. There's obviously tax advantages. New rooming home constructions often have substantial tax benefits through depreciation on the construction material and finishings, contributing positively to the overall financial outcome. And then equity, and we'll get to that in a minute, but it provides, as soon as obviously you can finish this property in construction, once you have tenants, the valuing rooming homes are like commercial properties. Based on net yields, often lead to substantially financial uplifts. Initially, as it says here, properties are valued between 10 to 25% higher than the house and land cost. So when they go to sell, you obviously see generally upswings of between 30 and 45% above these costs, as a testament to the robust income potential and market appeal. So yeah, you get all of those. We can get instant equity. So I wanted to run through these figures, and obviously I know Tony, who spoke to me last, he loved his figures, but a rooming house is valued similar to a construction property, rather than comparing to a traditional 5-bedroom home. Valuers will use a capitalization rate known as a cap rate, which is currently sitting at 5.6%. The net rent is divided by the cap rate. So let's go through this example that we've written out here. An example of a valuation of a house land package that cost $1 million. That is receiving $380 per week per room, would equate to $380 times 5 equals $1,900 per week. Times that by 50 weeks per year. So it gives us $95,000 of income. That's 20,000, leaving the net rent at 75,000 per year, which gives us a 7.5% net. So what we do is we divide the cap rate at 5.6% by the net rent of 75,000 to get a valuation amount of 1.339285. So an immediate uplift on that property that was sold at $1 million. So value is based on the net yield. So obviously I've just put here, we find that there is an extremely low occupancy turnover rate. So they all sign generally between a 6-month and 12-month lease agreement for each room. It's a hands-off investment, so it's great. And that's why we're seeing more astute investors coming back for their second or third home in this way, because it is such a great investment strategy. Quick returns. So it's supplying, obviously, with that immediate cash flow to give us better returns. Obviously, depreciation. So obviously we can give you guidance with depreciation schedules, but they can go and get their own from the tax agents that they use, but they have that immediate effect there with the depreciation. In a second, when you log on to our stock list, we also send you regularly via email. We inform our agents on industry news, events, and relevant information. So obviously, given what's happened in the past with the Sydney Olympics, with the announcement of Brisbane holding the 2032 Olympic Games, you'll see that we're experiencing what Sydney had back in 2000. So that rental affordability, obviously land is scarce and harder to get. So these are some articles that we've sent in the past that people can read and understand the booms that we were experiencing, the shortfalls in what the government's supplying. So this really provides some good information to go back to the customers and inform them that why within Brisbane it's such a great, a safer option, I guess, than just a traditional 422 out in the suburbs somewhere within southeast Queensland. So more articles. So one example of two homes, the Harwood and the Fitzroy. So what I'll show you in, we have a communal kitchen area, and this is where you'll find a ceramic, 600mm ceramic hot plate, cooktop, and an electric oven underbench there with a kitchen sink. Because they don't need a pantry, this is where the cleaning materials would be. And then you would have, on top of this, you would have then the internet NBN connections all come through into this cupboard here. All the tenants share the communal laundry. So there's a washing machine space, and a laundry tub here. And obviously for furniture, there'd be a couch here with the dining table here. Every rooming house must have an accessible living room. So for wheelchair accessible people, they can have a complying bathroom, complying toilet and shower, and complying vanity. This would be their living room, followed by their robe through here, and then their bedroom, and then their bed. So we have bedroom 2 over here, and they have, again, their own courtyard patio area, plus their bathroom with their shower, small vanity and toilet. Bedroom 3, again, the same, with their alfresco patio little area there, followed by 4 and 5, which leads out to the back where they've got a larger patio, concrete patio area. With you, obviously, land getting harder to find, a lot of people are subdividing land 1 into 2, which means land's getting skinnier. So this design here, the Fitzroy, fits on like a 10-metre wide block of land. So that means that the entry point is down the side of the home, where they would enter through the door through the side, and they would walk in, and the kitchen would be here. Again, a shared laundry over in this section over here. And then you've got bed 1, bedroom 2, 3, And bedroom, again, 3 here is for the wheelchair accessible living. So again, each rooming home must have at least one for the wheelchair. It's also got obviously aircon throughout with ceiling fans as well. And we've got room 4 and 5 there as an example. High sets. So for 2-story homes, we've got then a carport out the front, a porch area, followed by the kitchen. Downstairs, we've got obviously the accessible living room, 4 and 5. So again, each room has a patio. Upstairs, they've got a veranda, like patio, a veranda, and again, the deck out the front there for bedroom 3. And that's the Bowden design. Here are some external elevations of what the rooming homes are looking like. So again, with the carport, the front door there for that 2-story. For the here we've got the small area outside there for their porch, and there's the entry there. And again, this one over here on the left would be an entry down the side and getting in the home through the side access there. Some internal shots here of our obviously lounge room, looking onto the ensuite there. The sink with the cabinetry above. It's got a space for the fridge, and then the microwave would sit on top of that fridge. With the ceiling fans, with the blinds, security screens to all windows, sliding doors, they're all key locked. And you can see some fans there as well throughout. So if you were to obviously obtain our stock list, we sell house and land packages, and they would look like this in this format here. So it would highlight the design descriptions with the 5-bed, 5-bath throughout, 6 living rooms or dining rooms here, because we allow that 6th one in investment, 9.12%. Package price for this particular package is 1.163,900. Rental returns, so we're expecting, we've got an independent valuation for this particular area at Banyo within Queensland at $410 per week per room. So the entire rent would be $2,080. That'd be weekly. Rental build size is showing 200 square metres. And that's based on a block size of 405 square metres. Obviously, explaining it's in Banyo, we've got some highlights. So it's only 190 metres to a bus, 750 metres to a train. And it's just close to the 13 kilometres to the Brisbane CBD. So it's close for train, bus. Also, it's only 9-minute drive to the Westfield Chermside for those people to do their shopping, etc. We then highlight our inclusions. And again, we haven't even got to where it's a full engineered steel frame with a 50-year structural warranty on the frame itself. So these highlight some of the inclusions that we have. A 2-story example. Again, this location is in Acacia Ridge. It's got nearby parks, amenities, 900 metres to a bus, and 17.8 kilometres to the Brisbane city. The block size is 420, and this 2-story design here is 230 market. We really believe that we've got the right size for the bedroom. We've got the right size for the living room, and for the bathroom. So it's just the right square meterage, we believe, to get the maximum return for the investor. And so this package price is $1,033,000, giving a return of 9.77. So you can find those on our stock list. We have really popular colour schemes for the astute investor to select from. So we've got the summer, the autumn, spring, winter selection schemes to choose from. So we try to make it really one-stop shop, nice and easy for them. So when our stock list is a live stock list, which you can then go and have a look at where this is obviously the stock list, where they're up to, what ones are available, what ones have sold, what ones are under contract, and where we received expression of interest. It gives you more details and explanation of the packages, and you can scroll along and there's a whole lot of information that you can click on. You can grab your brochures from here, or you might be sitting with a customer and they've got a particular area or suburb that they are particular in and that they want to look within, and you've got an interactive Google mapping system here. So you can look via suburb if we've got house land packages, or if we've got a house land package near a suburb that they're interested in. 100 plus rooming house developments. Two would be established, we've got an established reputation of excellence. We've obviously taken the time to get our processes and procedures streamlined and really efficient. And that then benefits the construction process to make it as quick and as efficient as possible, so we can get those tenants into renting. Leading a team of highly skilled professionals, delivering turnkey projects that exceed investor expectations. And that's something we're really pleased about, is those calls 6 months later, 3 months later, a year later even, where they're looking at doing their second or third build. That's been a real testament to our processes. We also send out customer surveys throughout the build. So even though they might be in Sydney or Melbourne, we give them regular updates on what's happening, regular photos, so they can see that. And the agents can also send that on to their clients. Yeah, so we're really customer focused, I guess, and that's something that is a key achievement that we believe in, I think. Yeah, so we've talked about why choosing altitude homes, but for a rooming home builder, that's all we do. So that's what we specialise in. We don't do low set 4, 2 and 2s for the mum and dads, or even for investment opportunities. We simply do the 4, 2, 2s for the rooming home sector, and that's it. So we stick to what we're good at, what we're passionate about. My presentation may not have been the greatest, but generally we are passionate about this sector in this market. Something that is not on the PowerPoint presentation that I wanted to make mention is I've got a great team that I work with. So I'm very fortunate to have obviously great owners that own the business, but the team through pre-construction, through construction, customer service, maintenance, etc. We've just got a really great team that gels really well, and they're all customer focused. So they're focused on the outcomes to producing beautiful homes for the rooming sector. And obviously, because it is such a niche market, our name and our reputation is everything. So we hold that dear to us and make sure that whatever we do, we make sure it's a good outcome and it's a win-win outcome for everyone involved. And we really appreciate our marketing companies and referrers our agents and real estate agents that all work with us to get a great outcome. And obviously, I just made a note here that we really believe that relationships are key. And so we love to harness these relationships. I've got a BDM, Alan Cohey, and he's the one that started this relationship here, and that's why I'm available to speak at the property info session. So I appreciate the time. I appreciate allowing me to show you what the rooming home sector for Altitude Homes is all about. And if I can help any further, or if we can reach out, and we'll get Alan to give you a call and set up a time to do an e-meet and go through any questions that you might have. I think that might finish my presentation, I think. And there's my lovely face there for you to see.
Hi, Peter.
Wow.
Janelle here.
Thanks, Janelle.
Hello, thank you so much for your presentation. I just want to know if you're able to send me a copy of this PowerPoint presentation so I can send it out as well to our members.
Yeah, I'd love to. Absolutely, without a doubt.
Okay, great. We just have a few questions here from Vikas Kavare from in the chat.
Sure.
This is a new concept. Are there any success stories, since common person still thinks hard to get to 6 tenants in one house? Another challenge is finding agent to manage it.
Yeah, so we've got obviously relationships. We just again handed over one, for an example, Monday, and tenants are moving in already. So that the real life examples are happening right now, where they are moving in, and it can only be 5 tenants, so a maximum of 5 tenants within Brisbane City Council regulations. So yeah, the concept is real. Getting tenants, we again have agents that get those tenants in straight away. So yeah, it's happening every day. The concept is, and I'd love to show, if anyone wants to come up, we've got rooming homes that we can show real examples. For an example, we're building 3 in Zilmia, and we handed over 2 of the 3, and the 3rd one is a couple of weeks away from finishing. But the first 2 are already rented and rented out pretty much immediately. So yeah, it's happening right now, and it's a fantastic opportunity. Yeah. Did that answer that question?
Oh yeah, I believe so. He has another question. How do you present to clients against more lucrative NDIS housing?
Yeah, we stick to obviously what we're good at and what we know, and that's our space there. So I think because the spread of 5 incomes over, say, 1 income, we're really comfortable with our figures. And depending on where you build, we're seeing that they are getting the higher side of that rental per room in some great areas. So I think for us, yeah, there are other opportunities, but I think this is we can give you that you would get, showing what the expected rental return would be for that area. If it's Zilmia, or if it's Durack, etc., we would supply those investors a real estate valuation of what to expect before they would sign on. So it gives them that comfort. And we would simply give you phone numbers, or we'd give you the customer or yourselves phone numbers of investors who are doing these projects with us right now. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, Peter. The other question is, it's like NDIS. Do they require commercial finance?
Yeah, so with rooming homes, it is a little bit trickier in relation to finance. Yes, we have brokers that specialize in this field. So if they were to look, we would certainly guide them to lenders who are more familiar with the rooming home space. Absolutely. Yes.
That will be great. Thank you. I think we have another question here from Lorraine. Maximum 5 tenants per rooming home. So no couples, basically 1 tenant per bedroom. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yes. So the stipulation is that if the Brisbane City Council were to do an inspection, they would want to only see 5 people in that room. So we can't talk about if they would have a friend over or whatnot, but certainly the requirement is 1 per room. Yes, absolutely.
Nice. Thank you. Okay.
Which again, can I just say, and that's might be a testament to why we get such a large over 50 for women over 50 looking at this, is they do feel safe. So there aren't people coming and going that they may not know. They would see these 4 other roommates per se, but they certainly feel a lot more comfortable knowing that yes, it's supposed to be just those 5 in that house. Obviously, we have electronic front door locks. So if someone was to leave after their 6th month, the real estate agent can get straight on the app and change the code so no one can get into that room. So we've got technology in hand to help us. So if someone was to move out, we could provide a new code to the new person coming into that room when there is a changeover of lease.
I think there's a Peter. I think your line is breaking up.
Yes. Is it? Sorry.
Yeah. A follow-up question. So 5 individual rental leases, right? And tenant matching, very important. You are right over 50 women. Just trying to read the comment here. I'm just trying to scroll.
Sure.
Can you see it on the chat channel though?
Bear with me. I would just,
Sure.
here we go.
There.
There we go. Is it, yeah, so I'm just scrolling
The last
down.
question there.
So 5
Hi.
individual rental leases and tenants matching, very important. You are right, over 50 is a big market. I can see 5 women in age group. That is up to the real estate agents, so the leasing agents that we work with closely. So I'm not sure if they do match, but certainly that is a big portion of people who are, downsizing. The ladies, unfortunately, have maybe lost their husbands. They can move straight in to it. But yes, certainly it is it's a big area, big market. And yeah, a great question. I'll ask our rental companies that we refer to see if they do.
I'm sorry,
End
Peter,
up
but we can't hear
matching
you.
furnished. So we can certainly furnish it. We give the option to the investor. Would they like to furnish it, or they can get us to furnish it? We charge $28,000 to furnish, even down to the knives and forks. So certainly it's a turnkey build. The furniture is up to them whether they want to take the furniture package or not. But certainly a lot of them do. So I reckon about 80% don't want to organise the furniture themselves, and they get us to organise it. If they're local investors, they might do the running around, and so 28,000 for all 5 bedrooms and lounges. Yes, absolutely, Peter. Yes. So just recently it went up. It was 27,000. So thank you for your question there, Peter. Yes.
Yeah, Peter, will this be included in the purchase price, in the contract price, this furniture package, or it's like another agreement that they need to sign and pay? Like a
So say again, sorry, sorry, Joey.
Yeah, the furniture package, will this be included in the contract price, or it will be in a separate term?
No, it can be included.
Uh,
It can be included in the contract price. Correct.
Mhm.
What we
Okay.
do is the only thing there. What we do is we ask that they sign a waiver that it is not warranted for 6.5 years. So the furniture package, the lounges and the chairs and the cutlery are not warranted for 6.5 years, which is a statutory warranty period. That would be exclusive of the 6.5 years statutory warranty. So they sign a waiver, but yes, we can include it in the list price of the contract price. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Peter. Is there any other question from the team? I just wanted to ensure everyone that, or Janelle, that we send, this is really an attractive product, I must say. Please send an email to everyone with a recording and all the available stocks from Altitude Homes and from Tony as well. Okay? After this
Yes, true.
meeting. Thank
Yep.
you. All right.
We actually have listed some actually all of their properties in our property portal. So I will send out the links along with the recording of this event to everyone.
That will be awesome. Thank you.
All right. So I think we can wrap this up. Thanks again, Peter, for your time, and we really appreciate and love your presentation.
Lovely.
Excellent.
everyone.
Thanks again for inviting me. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Look
You're
forward to working
welcome.
with you soon again. Thank you, Peter. See
Thanks,
ya.
Peter.
Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.